Hello, this is Jennifer Vanderbeek, Imagine Artist in Residence, and in today's video I'm going to show you how I created this little paper box with a Faux Bois finish. Now to start, I wanted a background sheet that was more or less wood tone, so craft or any kind of brown paper that you have will work perfectly. And then I have this little box die from Sizzix. It came with my die cut machine, and so I'm going to use that to make my basic structure. I'm going to make sure all of the creases, all of the folds are sharply creased and there's no funny bends, because that will later impact how we're able to put our box together before I actually start on the faux finishing part of things. This wood grain background stamp from Clair Stamps is going to really play a huge part in making this box look like it is made of tiny little pieces of wood. Now, Faux Bois is French for false wood, and it describes a number of techniques that you can use to make things that aren't wood look like wood. In this case, I am making this little box, and one of the things that's going to make a difference, and the reason why I didn't start with a wood grain paper or just go ahead and stamp the whole thing, if you see, I am stamping each part individually, and that is because what's going to sell the look is that all of the panels are facing different directions. So that's very important. So that's why I was masking off the sides so that I was only stamping one section at a time, and that includes the flaps on the top. Now, my ultimate goal is to have like a cherry wood look, very highly lacquered, and so I grabbed some cherry blossom walnut ink to go ahead and give a warmer red tone to the stamped paper. And now I am going to also add a little bit more detailing using a wood grain stencil and some memento looks in Love Letter. And this isn't going to add like a full wood grain effect over the stamping. It's just going to add some deeper tones and highlights, and it's also not going to be our final layer. I just wanted to add a little bit more depth of color, a little brightness here, darkness there, and once I have each panel kind of highlighted with through the wood grain stencil, then I'm going to take that same memento looks in Love Letter. I'm going to tap some of it, a good bit of it actually, onto my craft mat and mix it with clear creative medium with a palette knife, and that is going to create our stain, because you know, you got a nice wood anything, it helps to preserve it, to protect it. So we're going to use this as our stain, and again, I am going to pay attention to the direction of the wood grain and try and match my swipes with the palette knife. This isn't crucial, but when you're working, in miniature, details matter. When you're working in faux finishes, details matter. And since this is a little miniature wooden box that is not made of wood, details are going to matter. So I am just going to take a little bit of extra time to try and make sure my technique isn't going to be at cross purposes with my desired effect. The result is this amazing high polished lacquer look on one side of our paper. And I flip it over and you can see exactly, you know, remind us where we started. So already I'm really happy with how this is turning out. Now I just need to assemble the box. I'm going to make sure everything is absolutely dry, no tackiness left on the creative medium, and also going to reinforce the folds with the bone folder, being very careful because the paper of course has been manipulated and it's been wet a couple of times, so it's a little bit more delicate. To put it together, I'm going to use a very strong, very quick drying liquid glue. That way, you know, I don't have to worry about clipping or clamping the edges, and I know that it's going to hold and stay held. Something that also helps when you're making a box like this that's all one piece and the lid is attached, it just folds over. The lid, of course, is a little bit bigger than the body of the box. So I want to make sure that it is actually going to kind of stay closed when I go to push it closed. And so those tabs on the front, I do kind of fudge those a little bit. I kind of put them a little bit tighter and scoot them a little bit closer in than maybe the fold has it, just to try and get it that much more secure. Now, the box itself is done. I just want to decorate it to kind of sell the faux finish home a little bit more. So I dug around in my spare parts and I found this two-piece clasp set that I think is probably used for like a little decorative box or jewelry box or maybe a purse or something like that. They have little brad arms like you would on a paper fastener. So that was great. I was able to just poke some holes. I think I used like a little straight pen to kind of help me out because I didn't want to risk tearing after I'd spent all that time creating this faux finish. Now, of course, the inside is looking very, very plain, and it kind of ruins that image of a faux wood finish once you open the box. So I grabbed some fabric. This is just some textured voile. It's meant for curtains. I had it in my fabric stash, and I'm not measuring. I am just rough cutting and piecing it in just to kind of cover up that bare craft paper inside, using that same quick drying, fast holding liquid glue to secure everything in place. And that is going to mean that, you know, when we go to open the box, it's not going to be so obvious that it's paper, because faux finishing is all about selling the illusion. So right now we're selling the illusion that this is a tiny little lacquered box that has a fabric lining. Now, what would you use a box like this for? Part of this project was just seeing if I could create a convincing faux wood finish through layers of technique, and I think I did accomplish that. Now, what would I do with this? I think this would make a very cute presentation if you made jewelry or had purchased some maybe handmade jewelry and wanted to give it in a novel little way rather than just the plain craft boxes. I think that would be a great use for it. If you are into miniatures, this is a great technique that you can use to upcycle a variety of materials. You can adapt this to whatever situation that you have. You just need to pay attention to scale. If you keep the scale in mind of what you're doing, then this technique will work for whatever you have in mind. I hope you've enjoyed this project. I hope it's given you some ideas, and thank you once again for watching and being here with me on the Imagine channel. Once again, I am Jennifer Vanderbeek for Imagine Crafts, and for more tips and inspiration, point your browsers to imaginecrafts.com.